It's not going to be a long meeting. The actual board meeting was last week. This is just another general meeting to rescind a specific motion and a couple other agenda items. So once we're done, we will open the floor, but please do not comment or ask questions while we're having the meeting. We'll open it up after. So with that said, we're going to start the meeting. Roll call. Everybody, Anita is the only one not here. And on the agenda, there was one item missing I would like to address first, and that is we need a motion to approve the 2015 budget that was missed on last week's, wasn't added to last week's agenda. So we need to do that because the annual mailing is going out tomorrow. A motion for the 2015 budget. Do you have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, next order of business is the landscape contract. Excuse me, we need a motion to rescind the previous motion with reference to RG General Landscape. Matt?
I'll make a motion to rescind the RG service contract that we extended on last Wednesday.
You have a second?
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Secondly, we need to choose a new landscape company. The recommendation from the landscape committee was to go with Palm Beach Broward. We need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it. 35,000 Palm Beach Broward.
Monthly. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, the third topic here that we need to address is the cancellation of RG General Maintenance Contract. We need to vote on the cancellation of the current contract and a date. I need a motion, please.
I make a motion to terminate the contract for the full year of the 31st of December.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
There's one old business item I want to address, and then we'll jump to new business and open the floor, because we have a lot of people here. The landscape committee was really hoping to have the Greenwood Manor Park done before the holidays. Christine had solicited some bids. However, it wasn't the landscape companies didn't actually give her the appropriate trees. We were looking for trees that didn't drop their leaves and make a mess. So I spoke with Wanda, and they have reserved for this particular budget between the park sunshade and the landscaping over in Greenwood Manor. We have a total to use between the facilities of $25,000, correct?
That's correct.
So I'd like to see if the board would make a motion to approve the budget for that, so we can move forward with this, and we'll certainly, the landscape committee will email the landscape design, etc., to the board before we move forward. I'd just like to have a motion for the budget, so we don't have to wait till November and get an approval.
A motion for 25,000.
For sunshades and the explicit for the sunshade and for the Greenwood Manor Park.
Okay, combined
Yes,
together.
combined,
Okay,
use
that's
the
correct.
total budget.
Right, okay, for the sunshade and the Greenwood Manor
Right.
enhancement.
Right. Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, does anybody have anything for new business before we close the meeting and open the floor?
You mentioned that we need to put in the increase them. In other words, to give it up to at the annual meeting for the people who vote to decide whether we want to increase the board.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, we can do that. If you want to make a motion for that, we can do that.
I want to make a motion that in the, the package you send out to the people to vote on, that would be authorized to increase our board members from 7 to 9.
If we have a second on it, then we can have a discussion and I'll explain.
Second.
Okay. I spoke with the HOA attorney, and in discussions with him, our bylaws state that we can have up to 9 directors. Okay. So therefore, I requested that we take a consideration to move it up to 9 directors. However, in speaking with Gary today, he says because our bylaws are not specific in the means of acquiring or getting up to the 9, the board can't simply just vote additional directors on. the board can vote to appoint if somebody resigns. Now, what we need to do, he said, is we need to vote to increase the board membership to 9, and then it goes into the annual mailing for the intent to run forms. Now, had that been done last year, we would have had an availability of 2 spots that could have been appointed. But since we do not, that was not included as a notice in the annual mailings, we cannot do that now, but we can vote to add 2 additional members to the intent to run form and increase the board to 9 members. So should you have a quorum, then the board would be brought up to 9 members. If there is not a quorum at the annual meeting, then the board has the ability to vote 2 additional seats in at that time. So, and so we have a motion on the floor. Can we have a vote? Sure. In favor?
Aye.
No? Okay. Motion carries 4-2. Okay, anybody else for new business? That's it? Okay, fastest meeting ever.
Yes.
I have a question.
And we're gonna open the floor, and please, because of the amount of people, we allow 3 minutes a person, so there's a lot of people here, so we kind of, everybody keep, on point. Okay, yes, you can go first.
I have a question about the budget. It was we were noticed that you were supposed to distribute your budget at this meeting.
No, it's an annual meeting, it's getting mailed, it goes with the annual mail out.
It was in her email that budget was on the agenda.
To approve.
That you were supposed to distribute your budget that,
No.
It's being mailed tomorrow.
It's mailed out.
Mailed with the package.
okay,
It
then.
is distributed, it's mailed with the
Okay,
package, yes.
okay, then one other point I want to speak on this subject is for the past 5 years, the actual budget that's been approved and the one that actually comes in at the end of the year is 60% over, and I would appreciate your consideration of not including all these extra additional expenses in the budget that you submit to us.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Do we have any questions? And we can start from maybe this side and move around if anybody has anything they'd like to comment on, or nothing? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to find out as far as the landscaping company, so what just happened, how many, you know, does that mean we're no longer using RG?
His contract will be terminated as of December 31st was the motion.
Meaning we're getting another company?
Correct. January 1st then.
That's the reason I came tonight. I really like RG. I've been here, I built my house pre-construction. I've seen them all come and go. And he's the only company that when I call him, and he fixes it. They all suck. I'm sorry for my language, but they were all horrible. He's the only one that I can call and he'll make it right. So that's disappointing that you guys didn't know that.
Thank you for your opinion.
What is your reasoning for getting rid of RG maintenance? What is the reason that you guys
The reasoning behind it was for, there's certain things in the contract as far as the detail of the community that weren't being completed, such as maybe weeding, the buffer maintenance, the amount of complaints with regard to the way the mow was being done, the ruts, etc. So it was kind of a cumulative type of thing.
So, I guess my question to you is, what do you guys expect from the landscape companies? Because I work for the Village of Wellington. I've been there for 14 years. We've gone with landscape companies as well. And we live in Florida, we live in South Florida. The weather affects the grass. There's going to be ruts. You're going to have tire marks when it rains. You're going to have issues.
I agree.
And to be brutally honest with you, I have no clue where you guys are coming from. I hardly ever come to any meetings. I saw this up there, but I come. With the landscape company, you get what you get. You're going to get the grass cut. You're going to get it weeded. You're going to get it edged. You're going to get it blown. And that's what you're going to get. Especially for the size of our development, I think what we pay now is fair. So unless you're getting a company who's drastically going to undercut what he's been already budgeted for, I have no clue where you're coming from. But they do it.
We're increasing the budget for it.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Well,
We're
I
increasing the
think,
budget.
you know what,
You're
you're
going
gonna
to
have,
increase, so you're going to pay more for the landscaping.
yeah,
So
landscape
you guys,
contractors.
your plan is to pay more from what
Right.
we already are paying for now that we have. The
Right.
grass is always cut.
Correct. That is correct.
That makes no sense to me. I guess my biggest question before we move on
Is that 3
is,
minutes?
what is, there's gotta be a reason, there's gotta be a reason that you guys are all of a sudden doing this. If last week,
It wasn't-
you guys,
it wasn't-
almost,
Okay.
last week,
3
you
minutes.
extended it. If last week you just agreed to go to the end of the year, what's changed? What could possibly have changed in the few weeks that you're changing your mind? What could possibly have happened in the last few weeks? The grass was cut.
It's not just the last few weeks, again, it's something that has occurred over the course of the year. He wasn't back on probation at one point in time during the course of the year.
Okay.
There's been some other issues, a lot of it is driven by work orders and some follow-up and complaints. You're always gonna have those that, like the service, and you're always
Sure.
gonna have those that don't like the service. So no matter who we have in here, you're gonna have, and I agree, you're gonna have issues. You're not gonna get rid of the ruts. You're not gonna get rid of all the weeds. It's South Florida. I think what the committee and the community as a whole is looking for is a little more detail, a little more care
Right.
to the
Well, let
property.
me know if I'm
3
wrong.
minutes is up, so. Yeah,
One
you
more,
3 minutes
one more
are
quick
up.
question. Let me know if I'm wrong. Didn't you guys agree to go to the end of the year?
Okay.
We rescinded.
We're gonna go around this way, but
I
go
wanna
ahead, I'll
Yeah,
let you
this
go
is
first. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I don't know what development he lives in, but I'm in Waterford. And the last time they came through and even did the weeds, they killed more grass than they did weed. Right now, there's a whole bunch of grass that needs to be replaced in my area. Prior to RG taking over, I had grass in the back on the berm. Christine has been there at least 3 times. There's absolutely no grass. All weeds completely, I've complained several times about it, and nothing has been done. You can actually, when they left, 2 days there, you can actually see all the tracks where they went across the pavement to the grass, to the trees, where they killed the grass as they went, as they went by. They cut the grass, the palm fronds fall off. They don't even move it, they cut around it. And when they whack, they don't move it, they go around it, so that area is not cut. I called RG once, Rafael about it. Once, they came and they took them up. The following weekend, they did the same, the following week, they did the same exact thing. I called them, he said he was gonna send it to come and clean up, they never came and cleaned up. It's ridiculous, I don't know,
And that,
I don't know where he
again,
lives, but.
but again, you know, everybody has their own level of care for their lawn. So some people are gonna want better service. Some people, as long as it's mowed, they're happy. So we're trying to find a balance. So we hope we find that in the new company. So, you know, there's no guarantee, but we
The
do
service from
hope.
RG was just horrible, I don't know.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you.
Did we poll the residents to see
Yes.
what the percentage?
It's been surveyed.
Where have you been?
Yeah, that's right, where's he?
We did a survey, yes. Survey,
Did you take the survey?
I did the survey, but where did it come back?
The
It
survey,
was like,
yeah, there was,
Time is up.
86 people, and there was 23
Sorry,
like.
this is my first time coming.
I'm just, but there's other people we have to consider.
Thank you very
Is
much.
there anybody over
We need
here
to
that
tune into
wants
what we
to
can-
ask
Thank you
a
for your time,
question?
I appreciate it.
Last week, did we submit the voting, if we want to keep RG maintenance or not, and what was the result for that, for the voting?
What was what?
Last week, we vote to see if we're going to keep RGA, or what was the result for that vote?
The result was, it was an improper vote because the contract amount was changed from what the bid was. We had to rescind it. We rescinded it and we saw the vote. The vote was canceled.
And how many votes we got? We got a lot of people,
Pardon me?
how many votes, just the board? Because I'm with him, I don't see I don't have any complaints on
The one thing people have to keep in mind, the sad thing is, there's 600 homes in here, and we get 60 to 70 people that respond to surveys, to anything that we do. It's literally 10% of the community do anything, say anything. And like I said, I'm hoping to be that this new company, you know, I was the one that made the suggestion to keep our services.
Yeah, but let's let the people.
I can explain it? Or no? Forget it. Go ahead.
But we answered
Go ahead,
the
we-
question.
I-
I mean, we answered the question. I'm just trying to get get to everybody because there's hands up, and I don't want the board to take up the time. I mean, I want the people to speak, and you can say your mind, how you feel.
Yeah, but if his answer doesn't get answered, then
Yeah.
we're skipping around and you're just ignoring what he wants. He wants an answer, I think he deserves to get it, and that's every single one of us.
Probably you save time. Probably, with his explanation, you're gonna save time.
Anyway, so what I was thinking was, is we have 3 new companies, and that's what the idea was to do, is keep all the accounts separate. The landscape committee made a suggestion. I didn't agree with it, because I didn't want to have all 3 contracts with one company. I made a mistake on the amount, because we've been talking at the landscape committee about the amounts everybody bid. And the amount that was bid by 3 companies was $35,000, so that was the median bid. The contract that we're awarding is for $35,000 a month. I made the suggestion to increase RG services to 35, but his bid was actually 33, so I made a mistake. I should have said increase him to his bid of 33 and keep him. And like I said, everybody went crazy, and it was a situation where, again, the problem that we have as a board, trying to make the right decisions for everybody, is that we only get the input of 10 or 15 people. You know, the landscape committee is 4 or 5 people that sit on the table. 7. All right, 7 that sit on the table, usually only 5 there.
No, there's a reason.
Well, the last one I went to, there was 5 people on the actual committee, and then there was a group of maybe 10 people in the crowd, myself, Mike, and Kareem included. So, you know, the people that make the input on all these things is literally a handful. And so that makes the decisions. So the people that are out there that just don't come to meetings or just think that everything's okay, or they don't, that's the reason why things change as they go.
Matt, I think you also have to make note that it's not just people sitting at a table. There's due diligence, there's work orders, there's input from management, there's emails sent to me directly from homeowners, so that it's accumulation of things. We're not just sitting here making arbitrary decisions, so please don't think that.
What is the financial impact on this? We're gonna fill in our pockets?
Yeah, I've heard
Yeah.
3 minutes,
Okay, we'll go with Stephanie. Wait a minute, Stephanie, I think she had her hand up first. I'm sorry. Yes.
I'm sorry, I got a question. So this is a decision already made about the landscaping, because I don't have any problem with the landscaping. I mean, I live in the same area where the gentleman lives, and I don't have any problem. Well, okay, in the same area. And I don't have any problem. I happen the same with the lady over there. All the time I need something.
I really don't want to sit here to listen to more landscaping crap.
So
They were
I
supposed to
was
do the
here for
budget.
one before him, and I mean, what the legal issues.
I'd like to know where all these positive people for RG come from. Where were they at the last couple of months? Now all of a sudden they're here.
I knocked on a lot of doors.
Yeah, the board of directors
I thought they were
has
talking about the
that's why
budget.
the information went out via survey. We were trying to gauge what the consensus was on the vendors. And, you know, we utilize the surveys to get input from the community. So if you're not using the web, you're not using the survey, you're not benefiting the community and your voice isn't getting heard. So, you know, I do think that, you know, when there's a survey out there, it's very important that people use it. That's how you get your voice out there. Send emails to, you know, the property manager if you're happy with the contract. And I don't know if everybody watches the minutes or whatever, but, you know, everything, the minutes are posted online. It says when we're going to be voting on contracts, etc. So if you feel strongly about a position and you can't make it to a meeting, send an email to the board. Send an email to Christine, she'll forward it. That way at least you get input. Stephanie, go ahead.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I don't know that everyone is knowledgeable about the surveys, because, again, there were surveys sent out to everybody about the landscaping, and you could have voted yes, you do like them, or no, you do not. And based on the votes that the surveys came in, the percentage was higher for not liking them. So that's what the landscape committee also went by. So if you guys want to have a say in stuff, and get on the website and do the surveys, and then you will be heard.
My damages to my property due to the landscaping company, how will I get reimbursed? The HOA is going to go give them money from that?